Okay. So taking your comfortable seat in this time of year, as we're experiencing this change of seasons, slightly shorter days, and then just in general, fall tends to bring more of that air and ether quality. Then we get to balance that out with a little bit of grounding. But with this grounding today, we'll use our grounding to help us really expand and open from there, which is what the purpose of it is anyway, is for us to feel that support in order to open. So as you come to your comfortable seat, focus on creating a really stable foundation for yourself. Sit up as high as you need, prop as much as you need. And then with your hands, either pressing into your legs or pressing into the ground beside you. Lift even higher with your heart and even think of a tiny bit of a back bend as you lift collarbones even higher, but then support this with your ribs drawing in. Try not to lose that opening through the heart space, even as you support the upper core. Eyes opened or closed, take another moment to come to your breath. Come to that expansion of your torso as you inhale. The grounding, the feeling of what's touching the ground or your seat as you exhale. Inhale for that expansion and opening. And exhale to feel the support of the ground. One more breath this way. And now hands come to connect at heart center. And as you gently press your palms together, lift your heart up higher. And then exhale, bow toward your heart. Honoring yourself for this time spent this morning, tuning inward. As you softly open your eyes and release your hands down, start to lift up and back through your shoulders, and do this a couple of times, starting to open more through the shoulders and the chest. As you do so, feel the rooting action of your legs, enabling you to sit even taller. And then roll the shoulders forward. And then lift your shoulders up and back, and we'll take both arms wide out to the side. Palms are forward, thumbs are up. Plug your shoulder blades in, and then we'll give little circles backwards with the arms as you keep your shoulder blades engaging, hands engaged. Keep your core engaged and rooting action through your sitting bones and your legs. Sit even taller as you make these circles. Then turn your palms up, re-engage through the shoulder blades. The core is engaged as you root through sitting bones and legs. Little circles backwards. Full deep long. Inhale and exhale in and out of your nose. And then stopping the circles, relaxing your arms down. And this time, exaggerated rolls back, where you might incorporate some big movements with your arms. And then exaggerated rolls forward. Again, you might let your arms have some exaggeration too. And now arms reach out long, and this time we're gonna wrap one arm over the other for a hug. It doesn't matter which one you do first. So we'll do both sides. Lift your elbows up to shoulder height, broaden tops of shoulders. Take a big inhale and lift your whole rib cage up. Exhale, root more through sitting bones and feet. Next inhale, find more lift and length. This time exhale, round in through your upper back, your chin tucks in. Add a couple of movements here, side to side, swaying, allowing more length through the entire back body, down into maybe your low back muscles like your QLs. Then inhale upright and reach the arms wide and cross the other way. Give yourself a hug. And we're lifting elbows up, broadening tops of shoulders. And then as you root through your sitting bones and your legs, lift even higher. Imagine your whole rib cage being picked up. Now exhale, round in, chin tucks in, take a big breath. And this time, instead of side to side swaying, I want you to think of a wave-like motion. As you inhale, you maybe lift up and out of it a little further, and then exhale, round in again. One more time this way. Inhale, lift up and out, maybe reach a little further forward, and exhale, round in. Then inhale, sit tall, release the arms down. We'll switch the cross of your legs, coming to maybe the less comfortable cross for yourself, and shift your sitting bones, moving them back and broad. Gratitude arms, we know and love this one. Elbows hug in by our sides, and then rotate your arms so your thumbs are moving toward the wall behind you. Keep some control with those flaring ribs that like to pop forward here, drawing them in, and then a little up and down movement through your shoulder blades. And now as you root down through your sitting bones and legs, we'll pause that movement of the shoulder blades. And I want you to lift with your pinkies, and think of your pinkies as attached to your front ribs, and enable a little bit of a back bend. Just a lift through the collarbones and opening through the front of the chest. Now exhale, fingertips come in front, round in through your upper back into that cat-like pose, and then find a little side-to-side movement. And then inhale, open it up again one more time into this gratitude place. Again, flaring ribs are controlled. Engage through your sitting bones and legs, and then lift higher. Open and expand a little bit more through the chest. Maybe there's more movement through the arms to hug more through shoulder blades. And now release your hands to your knees. Round back into your upper back, coming into this cat-like pose, chin tucks in, shake your head no toward the ground. Then inhale, sit tall, and we'll shift forward onto our hands and knees. We're gonna start off on our hands and knees with some of our scapular push-ups. So feel free, because we'll be on our hands and knees for a little bit of movement, to set a cushion underneath your knees. And as you set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, find your rotation of elbow pits forward, that even spread of fingertips, and the rooting. As you root, as you push into your hands, let that energy go all the way up into that space between your shoulder blades. So let it go a little bit and then push again, expand again. And now, sitting bones are moving back and a little bit up, so a little lumbar curve is happening, but then tone low glutes and belly to support your low back here. Now, as you inhale, you're drawing shoulder blades toward each other, your chest moves toward the ground. As you exhale, you're pushing and expanding the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, shoulder blades toward each other, and exhale, shoulder blades apart. And as you keep going with your breath, we're trying to keep that external upper arm bone rotation through the whole movement. Trying to keep the movement of the shoulder blades versus the rounding of the cat pose in the upper back. As you move, notice if there are any places that feel a little sticky in this movement. One more big breath. And now big toes together, knees wide, settle hips back towards your heels into as deep a child's pose as your body is ready for. Maybe walk hands forward. Maybe settle your head down to the ground or a block or stacked hands. If your head is resting on something, you're also welcome to rock across your forehead and give your neck that little bit of turning. Take one more moment with your breath to notice every part of your body that's in contact with the ground. And now gently rise back to your hands and knees. And from this place, we'll now switch to focusing a little bit on the hips, calves, and hamstrings. So root through palms and fingertips. Find your rotation of elbow pits forward and push. Let that space between your shoulder blades puff up. Inhale, reach back with your right leg, turn open with your leg, turn open with your hip, keeping your leg long and straight here for length through the back of the leg, reach through your heel. And now bring your hips back to center, tone through the low belly and open it up again. And then hips back to level. One more time, open it up, and this time you're bending your knee, pressing your heel toward the left side. And this time you get to find that length through your thigh, through your quads. So reach from your hip out through your knee. And then release. Right knee back to the ground. Inhale, lengthen back through the left leg. Pause and draw in through the low belly. Expand into the upper back. And then turn open. Reaching through your heel, finding that length through your calf and your hamstrings. Keep your low belly toned. Exhale, hips back to level. Re-engage the low belly, turn open. On your exhale, back to level. And one more time, open it up, bend your knee, press your heel toward the right side. Keeping belly toned, expand it into the upper back. Reach from your hip out through your knee. And then release. Left knee back to the ground. And now we're going to settle our hips back one more time into a child's pose. This time to give our wrists a little bit of a break so you can turn your palms up here and just stay right here, or you can clasp your hands and give your wrists a little rotation, a little figure eight. And now coming back to your hands and knees, tabletop position. Find that rotation of elbow pits forward and push. And then as you tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog pose, keep that upper arm bone rotation and push even more through your hands. And then notice your feet. Even if your heels are lifted, I want you to notice pushing through the balls of your feet. Sitting bones lift. Can you push through hands and feet at the same time? And now walk your way forward. Take as many steps as you would like to get there. Feel free to use blocks to support that transition. As you find your feet at the front of your mat, inner hip distance apart and parallel, lift and spread your toes and then root them down. Feel the four corners of your feet on the ground. From that, inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. And now hands to hips. As you press back on hips, lift up with shoulders and elbows. Unhinge the hips and rise. And as you come up to your mountain pose, pause and notice your feet once again. Lift and spread your toes, and then as you root down, lift your heart higher. Engage the flaring ribs. Gratitude arms here. Expand and open up through the chest. Take a full big breath and let your inhales help you lift your ribs even higher. Your exhales help you to tone and ground. One more big breath this way. And now hands behind to clasp. And as you clasp, if that's really tight on the shoulders, then maybe make fists at the low back instead, whichever one feels better to you right now. But lift up and back through your shoulders. Elbows are bent regardless and hugging back toward each other. Control the low belly and the ribs. Those flaring ribs love to pop forward here, but then inhale, root down, lift your heart up higher, little bit of a back bend. Now exhale, softness to the knees, hinge from the hips, fold over your legs. And again, you can keep your hands clasped or maybe have fists at your low back instead. Either way, hug back or hug toward each other with your elbows. And now release your hands down to blocks or to the floor, your choice. Inhale, lengthen partway. Exhale and fold. As you plant fingertips, step your right foot back into your lunge. You can be on the high point of your blocks or the low point of your blocks, or fingertips at the ground, your choice. But we'll turn and plant our back heel and then root with your feet. Press down to lift your heart up, coming into your warrior position here, warrior two, facing the right side, and reach your arms. As you reach your arms and settle into your front knee, push through your toes, push through your heels. And if it helps to slightly lift, especially the right or the front heel, the left heel up, and then set it back down, you can, just to feel more of that push. And now inhale, reverse, stretching back, but keeping that bend into your front knee. As you press your back hand into your thigh, your hip, or hand across the low back, lift higher through your ribs. Settle deeper into your front knee. Inhale, rise back up, bring hands to your hips, and now we're going to turn our feet to parallel. Front leg works towards straight. Then as you walk your hands further onto your low back, lift your heart up high. Control the flaring ribs as you lift your heart. Hinge at the hips, soft through the knees, fold over your legs. Take a full big breath. And now working legs as straight as they can be without locking your knee joints. Also, let your shins move further forward. Let your hips move further forward. Trying to find less of a shift back and more of a lift up. And now hands to hips, root through your feet, start to lift up through shoulders and elbows, and then rise all the way back up, unhinging the hips. So now we're going to turn our front foot back toward the front of our mat. And as you let your hips shift a little back, creating your hip crease in the front hip, in the left hip, you're going to extend your heart forward, and then maybe take left hand to block your shin, your thigh, wherever you need to be to turn your belly and your heart more open into your triangle pose, your Trikonasana. Push down with your big toe mound on your left foot and find your knee turning a little bit more toward the center of your foot. On your exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. You're tucking your back toes, bend your front knee and step forward. Inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale and fold over your legs. And now as you plant your fingertips on blocks or the floor, you can step left foot back into your lunge. Turn and plant your back foot so your foot's more parallel with the back of your mat. Push down with your feet to rise up into your warrior two. Find your warrior two stance, that depth of your front leg, and then expand and open through the heart. Toning through the low belly and the ribs, take a full big breath and expand even more. Think of reaching further through your first fingers, expanding your collarbones. Stay bent into your front knee, reverse. And again, as you reverse, find where your hand gets to be to help you anchor down, push, and lift up more. Root down to rise. Full big breath. Then root through your feet. Inhale, rise back upright. Hands come to your hips. Work your front leg towards straight and pivot your feet to face the left side. Front foot turns parallel with the back foot. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. Root through the pinky toe edges as well. You can have hands clasped or hands at your low back here with fists, your choice. Take a big inhale and expand and open up through the chest. Keep some control here. And then as you exhale, hinging from the hips, soft through the knees to fold. Again, you can stay with hands clasped, or you can bring your hands down wherever they need to be, your choice. But let shoulders lift a little bit further up your back. Take a full big breath. And work your legs a little bit straighter. Root down more through your feet. Find more of your weight shifting forward onto the balls of your feet. Now root through your feet, a little softness to your knees. Start to extend your heart first and then rise. And as you rise up, we'll now turn right foot out. Leg is still straight. Shift your hips back, heart forward. Take right hand wherever you need it to be. Block, shin, thigh, maybe the floor. Big toe mound is pushing down on your right leg. Wrap your right hip back. Allow your knee a little rotation, a little more to the right side. Keep that. Turn your belly and your heart to the left. And then maybe stretch up. Take a deep breath. Exhaling, both hands come back down to your blocks or the floor, your choice. Tuck your back toes, bend into your front knee and step forward. Inhale and extend your heart part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. Pause in your fold. And let's actually bring blocks out in front of us, hands on blocks to extend part way. And then just slow pedaling with your knees. As you pedal, bending one knee at a time, keep heels planted, allowing that movement to happen more from the knees and the hips. And now you can plant hands. Feel free to use blocks for this transition to step back into a downward facing dog. Pause and push. And you can keep hands right on blocks if you want to, but push more from your back muscles out through your hands, and then tilt sitting bones higher. Engage through the balls of your feet. As you push, take a full breath and expand your entire torso. Then lower knees down, hips toward your heels. One more child's pose. Take a full breath. And now use your hands to support you to lift your torso back upright. And then we're bringing legs off to one side, hips off to the other side. And then legs out to the front, and we will lower ourselves onto our backs. And be sure that you have your props close by. And from your back, just take that moment to let yourself feel. Feet on the ground, hips, shoulders, head on the ground. Deep breath. And now we'll bring knees up towards your chest and take them wide. And you're going to use your hands on the insides of your knees to open them wider. Give your feet a flex and then add some movement in opposite directions with your knees. And now aim both feet toward the ceiling. Hold around your hamstrings first. Send your sitting bones down. Give your feet a flex. You can stay right here holding your hamstrings. It's a nice thing to do for your hamstrings. Or hold a little higher up onto the outsides of your shins. Or hold the outsides of your feet. But just notice where your sitting bones end up having to tilt up. And then give a rock side to side, letting your hips walk a little further forward toward the foot of your mat, lengthening through your low back. And then pause with a pull down of your hands and a push back with your legs into your hands. And then set feet on the ground, drop knees in together to touch, or you can even grab your bolster and set it underneath your legs. But then we'll bring our awareness to our upper body. And we're gonna take a cactus for our arms to start with. And as you take a cactus, just notice if your flaring ribs like to pop up when you bring your arms into this position. Just create a little control, a little press down. Hands have some activity, and now we're gonna do a little bit of movement here with fingertips moving toward each other overhead into that eyeball shape. And then elbows bending a little more toward your sides. Inhale, fingertips toward each other, and exhale, elbows more toward your sides. You have about 3 more breaths, noticing where it is that maybe hands or elbows try to pop up. Not trying to change that, just noticing. And now back to the cactus place. And just take one more big breath here, letting that space between your shoulder blades fill up. And then we're gonna give ourselves a hug. It doesn't matter which arm goes over the top, so we'll do this twice. So with that hug, you're holding opposite shoulders, broaden shoulders out into your hands, and then inchworm your rib cage more toward the head of your mat. Then take a big breath into that space between your shoulder blades. And then switch the hug. Holding the other way, shoulders push out into your hands, delts push out into your hands. And then take that big breath into the space between your shoulder blades. And now relax the arms down. You're welcome to set a blanket over the top of you if you would like. Just add a little bit more grounding. But finding your Shavasana, whatever that looks like for you, take some full breaths. Bring awareness back to your breath. Bring gentle movement to fingers and toes. When you're ready to, you can bend your knees, roll over to your side, and take a moment on your side for a full breath. with hands coming to connect at heart center. Oh, push yourself back up right to your seat. Missed a step there. Then bring hands to your heart center and take a full deep breath. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.